Right.
Hey, Steve.
Clint?
Welcome to episode 7 of Generation Dragons. Steve, good to see you.
Good to see you in person.
I know,
This is
it's
great.
been a while. Been a while. So, we'll kick it off right today. Actually, first off, I want to say thank you to everyone that's listening and or watching us in person. Look, we're together. Look.
Yeah.
For now, until, other stuff changes. Anywho, Steve, did you watch Wanadvision?
I did. No, you finished it too.
Yep.
So it wrapped it up pretty neatly. You could even end the series there if they wanted. They did leave, more actually, like a drop off at the end that there's going to be more coming, but they could literally tie it up right there if they had to.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, well, I was thinking that too, right? Like, if they wanted to end it, they could have ended it just the way it is. But obviously, it's Disney and Marvel, and they're gonna tie everything in.
They know how popular it is; it'll keep going.
So
spoilers, because we're probably going to be talking about something with the show if you haven't seen it yet.
yeah. So spoilers. Jump ahead 5 minutes or so. But yeah. So with that, with WandaVision, Steve, what's your input? What's your thought? What do you think?
So I really liked White Vision.
Okay.
I kind of never liked how they kind of just recreated White Vision, because I always thought he got his powers from the Infinity Stone in his head, and then now he doesn't have one, and so there's a real Vision out there again. But with Wanda wrapping everything off with their big battle, and destroying everything collapsing in on herself, and literally got rid of her family, which I was surprised they wouldn't do something there to try and keep it open somewhere, but maybe. Yeah. But anyway, she fully embraced the Scarlet Witch and tied off the show there. And I'll let you kind of go on with what happens at the end. But what did you think with that part so far?
Well, and what I really think, my conspiracy theory, putting the hat on, is so I think White Vision was Ultron. If you recall, at the end of Age of Ultron, he looks at his hand, has missing his hand. At the end of episode 7, 8, whatever it was, at the end credits or mid credits, he looks at his right hand or left hand, whatever hand.
I can't
missing.
remember now. I'm trying to think about it.
he looks at his hand and realizes that, and then he has this whole directive of now that he has no memory of who he was, his vision and all that stuff. So Scarlet Witch, as controlling Vision, because he's an imaginary Vision, she just created him.
Yep.
Then puts the memories of everything that she has experienced with Vision and Vision had experienced into White Vision. He then becomes Vision, flies off. So my conspiracy theory is,
well, it was Vision the one that gave him the memories back, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't real Vision, because technically that's Scarlet Witch controlling.
I see your
Vision.
angle on this, right?
So what my thought is what I think it's Ultron. I think it's going to be, he's going to become Ultron again. Leveraging his memories leveraging his memories that he received from Wanda / Vision, to go and to be able to to attack Wanda as Scarlet Witch, because how else he's going to bring close, hey, remember this, I'm not just some machine, blah blah blah, blah. and then he's just going to turn around and attack on her. Then, like you're saying, end credits here. You have the Kree, I think it was the Kree that comes up.
when he comes down at the end, and I forget her name there, Proton.
Yeah.
So, and you were tying that in. I didn't connect the dots at first with Captain Marvel.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. So I'm pretty sure it is Proton, or is it Proton or Photon? One of the two. Proton. No, I think it's Proton. Photon.
So
yeah, Photon. So yeah, but that's it. That's what I'm thinking. Right, she becomes Photon throughout the show. You see, she has the powers, and then she comes down, because technically Captain Marvel is all part of that controlling of the universe. Now, it's cool that they introduced Wiccan and all that, but is that going to be the same kid that's going to be Wiccan farther down the road? If they do bring back Wiccan, even like Quicksilver and
I'd love to see that.
With how they, he's just a dude named Ralph, which ends up being Agatha's husband. She's always referring to Ralph, and then so I thought that was pretty cool.
So who do you think they're talking about at the end, where he wants to meet you when he's talking to Photon?
So I don't know, because I'm thinking it might be Adam Warlock.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know because Adam Warlock was from Guardian End of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I have to rewatch
maybe that's
it.
how they'll tie it in. Yeah. See, it's really fuzzy for me.
We have to rewatch it and see. But that's it. And that's the one thing Kathy and I are going to do. That we decided we finished watching all WandaVision,
right,
which she said made her ugly girl cry, and then which it was pretty sad. I mean, having to like sacrifice your family for that, that was pretty difficult. But anywho, that's it. What's your thoughts? Do you have any conspiracy theories?
I haven't really thought so much about it until right now, but I'm a little fuzzy on some of the other parts in the Marvel Universe that I didn't follow as closely. So, especially when it comes to, the Scarlet Witch and things she's done.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel, which is not the real Captain Marvel, it should be Shazam, but anyway, different universe, they just stole the name. But there's that. But yeah, anyway, it kind of segue out of this. I wanted to mention comic pickups.
Yeah.
So I'm not up to date. I did do my pickups, but I haven't done the reading yet. But I wanted to throw this out there because my wife is having a field day with this. So I have basically set to any Transformer comics that come in, they put aside for me.
Right.
So I got all the Transformer crossover comics, including, you're already laughing, including the My Little Pony crossovers. And so when she heard that, I started being called a brony right away and got all these brony pictures. So
nope, makes sense.
It is what it is. I'm going to read it. And,
of course you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a collector's item.
Yeah. Yeah, for a brony. Whatever, man. If you're into being a brony, be a brony. Whatever you want to do.
Don't take my brony away.
My
little brony.
You're a little brony.
Yeah.
Talking about collecting, as we have right here in front of us, some of your rare stuff. Now, I didn't bring anything with me, but I want to know what's your rarest. Well, we'll talk toys.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk video games. What do you think your rarest?
I'd have to do some thinking on it because, as you know, I have such a large collection over my life.
Oh, I guess you can't really see.
But it entirely wraps around the basement and comes around again. But a lot of stuff's in storage. But if I had to say my rarest, we'll say with toys first since it's right here, would be stuff like my old G.I. Joe stuff, He-Man, Jayce and Wheeled Warriors, which I have over here. He-Man and Battle Cat. I got Tila on the back there. The Landwalker from the Lightning League, if you want to just throw that over there with Arm Force on top. I forget the name of the Landwalker offhand, but yeah, these are all some of my older toys and rare items. There's more around. And then, of course, OG Transformers and whatnot, but most of those are in a glass case or put away.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, right? All the main things that I was a kid from, I probably have something from each little major thing. Even Marvel and old Super Friends. Like actually, my Superman. I didn't even think of that. From the old Super Friends. This is probably my oldest toy that I still have from my youth.
Sweet.
So you pinch his legs together and he does the fist up.
Nice.
But yeah. Here, I guess we can get these out of the way so it's not so distracting.
Yeah. No worries.
But I know you don't have any yours here. And before I switch gears into video games, what do you have for old toys?
So I don't really have anything that's like a collector's toy for I've got an old Optimus. I've got a G1 Blitzwing, who is one of my favorite. Optimus Primal, a bunch of reissues for the Transformers G1 stuff. I mean, if I'm looking at and comparing into like statues and all that stuff, I've got some First Four figure statues, which I love. Like I've got the Dark Link from Ocarina of Time.
That thing's amazing, by the way.
Which was an awesome gift for my wife. I've got the R2-D2, the robotic R2-D2 that you put on, the battery-powered one, and it's the big one, walks around, you can talk to it and stuff like that. That was another nice one.
Have you ever owned a swap for my big BB-8?
No. And then what else? What else is there? So there's that. I've got a couple like collector, like Marvel Zombie. I've got that Magneto Marvel Zombie that some people would have seen in the videos. And then, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's a few things here and there. I mean, mostly, but for me, it's like more video games, right? That's more of my sweet spot.
You have a shit ton of games. So do I, but so do you.
Yeah. So like for me on the video game front, it's like my black 2K Dreamcast the sports Dreamcast.
I regret not getting that. It was that close to pulling the trigger back in the day.
Yeah. So there's that. I've got so there's that one. The collectors, the Tower of Tower.
Yeah.
For the
Sega Genesis or Mega Drive.
Yeah. For the mini one, the reissue that when I was in Japan I was able to find, which was a big thing. I was like, I have to find this. Yeah,
and you did. I remember getting the message.
Then I've got a few like in-box Pokemon Yellow Japanese version, but that was a sweet pickup when I was there. Zelda, the DX version, my Japanese Halo. Then I've got a whole bunch of Wacka Collector's Edition stuff, right? So that's kind of my rare. I don't have like a specific game that's like worth $300 or $400.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the whole collection, it's there, but...
Yeah, gotcha. So for some of my older things, I'd really have to dig in, but like some of the rare or weird things I have would be like 2 different N gauges and a whole... You can't see it's out of frame, but the game's way up here is like a couple dozen N gauge games for sure.
Yeah.
And then like Lunar for Sega CD, and then I'm trying to think of some of the stuff. Chrono Trigger back on the SNES is not so rare, but it's there.
Panzer Dragoon up there on the Saturn. That's the collectors, and then you got a whack load of stuff, man. You got Virtua Fighter 2 on the Genesis.
Yep.
But that's, I mean, for me, it's what's next, right? Like, I mean, I've got that Pokemon card that I pulled, the Charizard that I pulled from the Champions Path. It's valued at like $800 or $900.
That's crazy.
Without being rated, right? Like graded, sorry. So. But that was just a random pull, which was nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Speaking of like high value like that, I remember just sitting down here with Curse one night, and she's like, I popped on a video, and it was 10 things from your childhood you might have that are worth a lot of money.
Right.
And it went around, and I think I had 8 or 9 of the items in the list because it just went like, He-Man and through it, G.I. Joe headquarters, and and I'm like, I have all these things, and like even the M-Bat still runs if I put D batteries in it. But I'm one of those guys that I don't collect and keep in box. I take everything out and display it, play with the kids, do toy photography, whatever, just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm in the same boat. I don't think the only stuff I've ever kept for collection is like is video game stuff, like video game boxes. Like I've got a pile like my Last of Us Part 2 collectors, Uncharted 4, all that stuff is in the boxes. You got Fire Emblem 3 Houses for the Switch, or Xenoblade Chronicles, like all the collector's editions of those. I kept all that. No, I kind of regret. I noticed that you have you can't see the frame, but you've got the box for the Wind Waker Skyward Sword for this Wii there. I regret not keeping that box, but what can you do? I still have the controller.
I think I kept it because of the controller. That's the only reason. Otherwise, if it's a paper box, I probably would have chucked it. Like, I love the Genesis boxes back in the day, or even the Mega Drive, because they're hard and that, and they were really like a great way to display. It makes me think of old VHS and beta tapes.
100%. Talking about Switch stuff. I mean, you've seen the Switch.
HD?
Switch rumors, right?
I have.
So Samsung OLED screen, 7-inch bigger screen, all that stuff. Fits about the size of... So a 7-inch screen is similar to the size of the Switch screen now, but if you went right to the edge versus now there's still that black round. So that's, it
gives you a little bit more real estate there to see.
So here's my theory on it. So if it comes out, if it's real, and they're talking about 4K, all that stuff is going to be, I don't think they'll, let me restart. So I think the Switch and the Switch Lite are to stay. What they're going to do is something similar to like Xbox and PlayStation did for the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro.
So to play the same games, but on
higher. So everything is not going to be in the Switch. Everything's going to be in the dock. So you can buy the new Switch with the new screen, but the new dock is going to be where that's where the
processing
power,
is. For that's interesting.
Because then at that point, everyone can still play the new games that come out because you can play it in handheld mode. But as soon as you plug it into your dock, you're now boom 4K. How real is this? I don't know. It's rumors. Everything is rumors. I mean, everything came from Bloomberg, so it's reputable.
I would have thought it would have been in the the device itself. I never considered that or anything like that, but that's a pretty neat way to do it. But it's basically like having a 32X.
Yeah, well,
or something like that. So because it's an add-on.
Yeah, I mean, look at the 3DS, right? 3DS was 2011. I think was the release year of 2011. I think is when it was released. So 3DS came out in 2011. It's 10 years. This year, 2011, 2012. Anyways, one of those 2 years. But then they released the new 3DS, right? And the new 3DS was a 3DS with a little bit more beef behind it that played, newer games better than things loaded better in the new 3DS and all that stuff. So I think it's similar like that. And even Nintendo said they had a press conference. Well, press conference. It was
direct
an interview. Direct. No, it wasn't a direct. No, it was like a shareholder kind of meeting.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's what it was, and that was where the conversation had come in. Nintendo was like, because it's a hybrid, it's a handheld and a home console. Our legs in it are much longer because, if you look at a 3DS, you look at Game Boy was released. When was the Game Boy released? 94, 95?
The original Game Boy?
Yeah.
89.
Oh, shit. So 89,
yeah.
And then, Game Boy Color was the next one that was
94, 95?
Yeah,
so maybe...
Like no, I think it was...
Maybe it's later 90s.
Yeah, I think it was 99?
Yeah.
98, 99, because it wasn't... Pokemon, Red and Blue weren't for Pokemon. It wasn't for
so
Game Boy Colors.
If I remember right, they went, in 89, the original Game Boy launched.
Yeah.
And then that was there just as is for years.
Yeah. And then they made
and then you got, I think, the Pocket, which was like that silver one. And then they went Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
And then...
That's when they moved to Game Boy Advance. But
that would have been, closer to 2000s.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance was 2001 or 2.
But they stuck with that old hardware really for so long.
But that's what I'm saying,
But it
right?
sold.
But exactly. So they're not going to go ahead... They're not going to go and release a new console 4 years into the life cycle of the Switch when the Switch is a handheld as well, right? So why not make everything in the Switch be the same power that on the console itself, but then when you want the boost is...
So it's interesting. If they do that, can you buy the hardware, the dock separate and make it work with the older one?
Yeah, that would be...
So I really doubt it.
No, yeah, so, I do, yeah.
Nintendo's not known for keeping things working together, and you always have to buy something new.
Well, yes or no. I mean, the Wii played the GameCube games.
There is that backwards compatibility, but I mean, when it comes to... Well, actually, I'd take a step back, because you can use your Wiimote and your Wii controllers on,
on the Wii U.
Right, and so on, so... We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's... And, I mean, my prediction date, it will be March 2022.
Okay, I was gonna say March. We're in March, man.
Well, because it was 4 years, as a couple of days ago.
Cycle is what you're saying.
I'm gonna lie. What my thought is. So this is 4 years. This is the 4th year of the Switch and Breath of the Wild, right? 2022, 5 years. Breath of the Wild 2. It'll be a release game for the Switch, the Super Switch Pro, whatever they're gonna call it, right?
That'd be great if they called it the Super Switch.
Yeah.
That rolls right out.
All right, Nintendo, if you wanted to go ahead and take that.
Nintendo Super Switch.
You heard it first.
All right.
No. Anyways, yeah, so that would be it. That's why what I'm thinking. I want to go back to what you said about the N-Gage. So, I know you have 2 N-Gages.
Right, and they're different models.
And you gotta explain the story on how you ended up getting those.
Yeah, because there's probably anyone that knows what an N-Gage is probably thinking why.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so how did you come across an N-Gage back?
So, N-Gage was doing poorly. I was managing an EB Games. Actually, I think I was assistant manager when I was selling it, when I got my first one. And then I got my own store and got my second one. But basically what they did is if you sold an N-Gage, you got an N-Gage. And so, literally, I never bought the N-Gage. I ended up selling one, and then that earned me my first N-Gage.
Wow.
And then I got my other store, and they changed models of the N-Gage, like they upgraded it, so if you call it an upgrade. And then the same thing. I sold another one, but at this point they were clearing them. They were really dropped in price, and this woman came in with her son, and he wanted to buy a gaming system and wanted a portable, and the games were all marked down to dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they bought the N-Gage, like even though I was trying to push Nintendo and stuff over it at the time, I think the Game Boy Micro was out, and I did get one of those as well, by the way, which I love. I even washed that thing and dried it, and it still worked. So, but yeah, so that's how I got the second one. And the collection, literally, I picked up a couple of games when I first got it to try it out. Like I think Tomb Raider I picked up and Tony Hawk and whatnot, just so I had some games. It was so stupid. You had to take like the battery off to put the freaking game in. But then when they cleared them out to like $1 each or something, I bought a whack of them. And that's half of them are still wrapped because I've never played them.
Well, that was gaming on cell phones before gaming on cell phones were a thing, right?
Snake on my old what was it called, Amigo or not Amigo? The old Nokia phones in the 90s.
Oh yeah. Well, I couldn't tell you what they're called, but I know which ones you're talking about. No, it's funny that you say that with the N-Gage because I was reading my GMRs, the old GMRs that I got.
Nice.
From the old EB Games magazine before Game Informer and GameStop came in. But anyways,
I'm actually published in one of those for winning a tournament.
In a GMR?
Yeah. This was right before I started working, maybe like a few months before I started my first job at EB. I was still managing a bulk barn back then, and I was kind of headhunted to come over there, and I got hired on as a assistant. But they were hosting a tournament for a game called Brute Force on the Xbox.
Oh, Brute Force, yeah.
And literally, it was a handful of us that played, and I just happened to win. If you remember my buddy Andrew, the big guy. So he's like a crazy Halo guy, but he didn't take the tournament serious. Yeah. And so I beat him. I thought he was just playing around, and I think I won Xbox Live, Halo or something, Brute Force the game or something. A bunch of stuff. So I split it with him because he was second. And everyone else we were playing were like kids, so we demolished them. And I'm not proud of winning that tournament because there was hardly anyone there, and really it was just done to have the event and get it over with. But yeah, I got published because I was the winner of that one in that store, and blah blah. And they just listed everyone.
Because I've got issue 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, and 12. I think I was able to find. I'll have to look to see.
Because I lost mine. I kept it on purpose. And I think just one time when I was moving, my magazines and stuff I bought, I gotta get rid of this shit.
So I was looking at the GMR, and they're talking about the N-Gage, and like one was like, oh, the new thing of gaming, right? And then the next issue was the review of it, and they're like, don't buy this. It's a piece of junk.
It was. It really was.
And then so
even like using it as a cell phone, it's like holding a freaking football in your hand. Like
that's it. It wasn't a nice shape or like that.
It was designed to hold like a controller. Yeah. But using it as a phone was stupid, and then they couldn't get either right. Like the gaming aspect of it sucked. It was a vertical screen instead of widescreen, and again, having to turn off the phone, take the battery out to put a freaking game in.
Which is crazy. But it's kind of cool the backing that they had, right? Sega supported them. EA, I think there was a couple of EA games or something. Right. So like,
but they never really. They had kind of a push, and then they just fell flat.
Yeah, well, it was worth a try, and look at where we are now, right? 20 years later, and majority of gaming is done on cell phones now, right?
So what is your favorite handheld, and why?
Favorite handheld?
Yeah, because I have one that's in my head tops them all for a reason, but...
So mine's probably the Game Boy Advance SP. And the reason
Clamshell, good design, small, backlit.
Backlit, could play the Game Boy games.
It's a good choice.
Advance games. Comfortable enough to play on. Had it. Was one of the first handhelds I purchased myself type thing. Didn't eat batteries. I mean, most impactful was probably my Game Gear. But I say my Game Gear, but really it was my cousin had a Game Gear. I would go over to his place and I'd hang out in his basement while my brothers and him were playing NHL and the Genesis or something like that. I'd be sitting there playing Game Gear plugged into the wall.
Not trying to ignore you, just I have to order 2 beers for us really quick.
Okay, cool. So that would be it. And then, that would be, I mean, like, if I'm going to rank it, but then do you include the Switch in that?
I do. Okay. I would.
Are we talking strictly handheld, or are we talking?
So I'd say strictly handheld. Don't call it Switch because I rarely ever use my Switch as a handheld.
No, that's all I use my Switch.
So you're opposite. Yeah. So if I'm playing a Switch game, I'm almost always on the TV.
Right.
But it's one of those things where if I'm into a Switch game and I have to start making dinner or something like that, I'll undock it and just play it as I do things. You know.
Right.
But I do the same thing with my Xbox. Just on XCloud, I'll put the clamp on the controller. I love it, man.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice.
So, if you want a quarter, grab 2 beers, please. Thank you.
Yeah. So then, okay. Well, what's yours then? What's your?
By bar none.
Let me guess.
Hands down.
The Nomad.
Yes. Good call. Then tell me why, and I bet you'll hit all the points.
Well, so you could connect it to a TV. Mm-hmm. You could play Genesis games on it. The screen size is pretty good. Quality is decent for what it is. That's pretty much it. That's I don't know what else I'd be missing.
So, right in all those, you could plug an AC adapter right into it because it worked like a Genesis. You could put a second controller in it because it worked like a Genesis. You played Genesis games because it worked like a Genesis. So, I loved it, and the D-pad is phenomenal.
Is it?
You gotta hold it. I'll dig it out because it's right in the box in front of us before you go today, and just feel it. It's like the best D-pad I've ever used until really the Xbox One controller started getting better.
Right.
Like I hated the 360 roller kind of like that.
Yeah.
But as soon as trust me, for anyone out there that has a game, a Nomad, or just try it. Put it in your hand and feel that D-pad. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a shot. I have to give it a shot. Talking about favorites, and we're coming up close to time, but we'll hit this last mark here. Talking about favorites, what was your favorite video game magazine, Steve? Not that there's many left, except for Game Informer.
Probably EGM back in the day, just because it covered everything.
Yeah.
I used to really like the official Xbox magazine.
Yes, I used to love that.
But because I don't discriminate, I go where the game I want to play is.
Yeah.
I like any of the magazines that covered.
Right.
You know, so probably that. What about you?
Well, so I mean, I had a subscription to Nintendo Power, so that was a big one.
I used to have that as well.
Yeah, Dreamcast magazine was also a huge one for me. Like, I loved the Dreamcast magazine. Yep. I liked the size of it too. It was wider than a normal magazine.
It was like that European style, because all my photo magazines are giant like that.
Yeah. Which now Dreamcast magazines are super hard to find. So anyone in the Ottawa area and/or Toronto, Montreal, anywhere in Ontario.
How about anywhere? You can just
anywhere.
ship everything.
If you guys have Dreamcast magazines and you're looking to get rid of them, I'm your guy. I will pay you for them. Anywho, it was probably that. I mean, I liked GamePro. I think I liked electronic gaming, like EGM, more.
Yeah.
Right now, really all we could read is Game Informer.
There's nothing else out there, and everything's digital, and it's the way it's going. But I really miss just... like, you know, have the fire pit outside.
Yeah.
I love just sitting out there with a magazine in hand, having a beer, just chilling.
Don't lie, Steve. You really like just sit on the toilet and read your magazine while you're taking a poop? Because that's what I do.
I poop fast, so I usually just use my phone, and I literally have time to read one little thing, and then I'm done.
Very fair. No, I mean, so like,
I have an angry ass. It just wants everything out.
Yeah, I mean, and there was also like the official PlayStation magazine and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. So I was never a big Sony guy. More like when it came to Sony, it was because they had a game I wanted that I couldn't get anywhere else.
Right.
Nothing against Sony, because I do like Sony. It just seems the way I've always played any other console but Sony first, unless it was like something like The Last of Us.
No. Yeah, so you were saying with the PlayStation magazine. I mean, like for me, it was all like I didn't have a PlayStation magazine all that often. Like I'd pick one up here and there. Like I never had a PlayStation. I was a Sega guy, then Nintendo. Well, Nintendo, Sega guy, then just more or less Nintendo, then Xbox sort of thing, right? I didn't really become a Sony guy till the PS3. Like I bought a PS3, and then I went back and bought other stuff, PS2 and PlayStation 1. But like Xbox magazine and the free demo discs, like I was lucky.
Oh shit! I remember that. That was awesome.
I found like a stack of them at Value Village. I think I bought like it was probably like 6 or 7 of them for like different issues. And
did you grab them?
Of course.
I was like, why wouldn't you?
So I have them, but I haven't tried them yet. One thing we'll have to do, and this is maybe a future, like not one of these shows, but one of our other stuff that we do, is fixing the Xbox
Yep. Yeah, I've already done that once.
Because my power button doesn't turn on and off.
So we could do that, and another video we could do is because somebody's giving me an old NES that I know I can fix. I'm assuming I can fix, actually, because I've done it a few times. And a PlayStation that doesn't work. Never fixed a PlayStation yet.
No.
But fixed a few Nintendos and one Xbox, so we'll see.
Cool.
I'd love to be able to fix one of my 3DOs. Speaking of stuff like that, I have one 3DO that is the Panasonic second version. So I have the disc loader from Gold Star, the Panasonic one, and then I have the wide one with the pop-up. And I lent that to somebody for a while, and they gave it back, and where they stored it, it was moisture ridden, and so it was all rusted and everything. I'm like, how does that even happen? So I'd like to see if I can restore it.
That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Yeah, actually, talking about that, I have to fix it. I have two NESs that I think I have to. I
can do that. We should do it together because they're pretty easy. And
fix the connectors on it.
That's usually all it is with those. Sometimes you can just bend them up. Other times it's $10 for your replace the piece. So.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think you know what? Talking about magazines, I think my favorite magazine that I've ever read is probably the Shenmue edition of the Dreamcast magazine. So when they talked about Dreamcast, where it was the Dreamcast magazine,
it just hit a note with me because I think I actually read that back in the day.
So, and there's that one, and then actually the Game Informer, Breath of the Wild Game Informer, that was a good one. And then the anniversary, they did a Pokemon one for Game Informer, which I really liked. Which is, I'm a monstrous Pokemon fan, so had to go to the Pokemon Cafe in Japan when I was there.
Why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, well, that's it.
So kind of speaking of magazines, and you worked at EBU with me.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we sold a ton of magazines there, and then they eventually weaned away, and then they only sold our only one.
Yeah.
Their only one. But I used to love when they'd get rid of them. It's strategy guides, all that stuff. We had to destroy them, right? Destroy them, quote. So we did. We'd rip off the covers, but the rest of the magazine's fine. So you can never has it as a collector's item or anything. But you could keep that, right? And that stuff just got thrown out. So there's often times where I'd take a strategy guide, or a magazine and read it, keep it, and whatever, just because I couldn't sell it.
Right. Yeah, those old days. Because I was thinking about that too. Because I'm like, oh man, that's the one thing I miss. I miss strategy guides. I miss the old.
Yeah, last episode, the episode before, I talked about the strategy guide where my daughter.
Yeah,
that was like old school gaming. None of this Google shit all the time. I found myself doing that playing Assassin's Creed.
Like where to go and all that stuff.
It's like trying to find something. I'm getting annoyed, and I just grab my phone. I'm like, oh, there, and then later on, oh, how do I find this? I'm like, it's taking the exploration out, and I just took my phone with. Don't touch.
Yeah, that's why. Actually, Jordan, our buddy Jordan, there, he gave me I still have his Majora's Mask strategy guide.
No way, that's old.
And I need to give that back to him or buy it from whatever the case may be. But anyways, it is old. It's sweet though. Like to go through it and I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. There's this one guy I found on Instagram that does hand drawn strategy guides. So he did one for
what? He makes them himself?
Yeah. So he did one
crazy.
For the OG Zelda, like Legend of Zelda for the NES. It's beautiful. He did that. He did Contra. He's working on a Metroid one.
Oh, this is pretty awesome. So does he print them after?
So he has printed them, but he hasn't he hasn't done any since. So I've sent a message. I'm like, hey man, whenever you do, I want to make sure I want to buy a printed one. I've bought the digital version of them. He has digital versions of them, which I guess you could technically print them yourself and a lot. But I'd rather. I'll pay whatever.
30, that'd be really cool.
Bucks just the drawings on it and all that stuff. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out.
So you just triggered an old memory there for me. So you know how my father is quite the artist,
right?
And when he was young, he did drafting for a living, right? And so he had and he used to build comics. And if I remember right, he was invited to do a bunch of stuff, even with something with Disney at one point. But long story short, I remember him playing Super Mario Brothers. Right? And he was horrible. This is on the old NES, 1987 or 88, whatever it is, where when he actually played, even though it came out in 86, but by the time we had one, and he played the game like this, with leaning over, the controllers all over the place. But what he started to do, he would take an afternoon, usually it was a Saturday afternoon, and he would play the game, pause it, and he'd draw out the level. Play a little bit more, pause it, draw out the level where everything he had to go. Wow. And by the time he was done, he literally had because he was doing it just on graph paper and a pad.
Yeah.
He literally had the full pad, like, and it was the Super Mario Brothers game via his experience. Cool. It was really neat, except he hated that I picked it apart. I'm like, oh, you missed that. There was a hidden mushroom there, or hidden free one-up, or something like that. But
I found the guy. His name's Phil Summers.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. That's just from...
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really amazing, actually, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you show that on the screen or share that. That's just pretty good.
Yeah. No, so this guy is impressive on the stuff that he does. So I'm looking forward to try to get his copy. Like, yeah, people are selling his Legend of Zelda on eBay for $170.
Jeez.
But it is, like, his drawings are ridiculous. So, anyways, I'm hoping I'm able to snag one when even if I can't get a Zelda one printed, I'm hoping I can make sure I'm on the Metroid one, because I really like to get the Metroid one. Metroid's one of my favorite games and series, so it'd be really sweet to have
I love
like
Metroid. It was such a good game.
Yeah, I hear you, Steve. I hear you. Well, Steve, man,
I think we're getting close to wrapping up.
Yeah.
I have a question for you after. It doesn't have to do with this, but when it comes to artwork, remind me. I want to know where you got that gift and how you got that gift from me when my birthday one year with the He-Man artwork from the guy, one of the artists that signed it. That was really neat.
Yes, I will let you know.
But that story for another time too.
I think it was a Comic-Con. Pretty sure it was Auto Comic-Con.
Yeah,
but I can't. I'll have to. Anywho,
it's up on the wall and it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I mean, I remembered that, but I forgot we got the Happy Birthday, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Anywho, Steve, as always, it was great, guys.
Good times. Always good for a couple of beers and shooting the shit about the old times, the collecting, the games, just the stuff we all care about.
Exactly. Everyone, as always, follow us at Game.Bot Games on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. You can find us on all the podcast platforms, so come take a listen. Or watch us, because we're together now. Look, we're together.
Hell yeah.
Anywho.
This is a great bromance.
It is. It is a strong one. Anywho, Steve.
Keep collecting.
Keep playing. And stay safe.
Keep safe.
Keep safe.
Keep safe.